99.5 FM WBAI New York. Welcome back to another episode of Black Seinfeld, the show about nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
First things first, I want to say RIP to the one, the only, Chico, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, man. He's gone, folks. He is gone. The bad guy is gone, ladies and gentlemen. He's gone, children. One of the dopest wrestlers ever from the 90s who invaded WCW with his man's Kevin Nash. And honestly, is one of the big inspirations behind Bastion's favorite group, Griselda, West Side Gun. The reason why he says "Hey yo" is because of Scott Hall. He always starts off his promos by saying "Hey yo," and so your boy West Side Gun started doing "Hey yo" as a tribute to one Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. I'm sad he's gone. Bastion, I know you don't like wrestling, but West Side Gun does, so I'm sad still.
Definitely most hip-hop legends do.
Hell yeah, a lot of hip-hop legends are upset that Scott Hall is gone, man. Rap and wrestling go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Wu-Tang, Griselda, they all love wrestling. People, Flatbush Zombies, they all love wrestling, man. So I was highly upset that he didn't make it, man. He passed. He had a triple heart attack and he was on life support, and so he didn't make it. R.I.P. the bad guy. You will forever be missed, and you will forever be loved in my heart, Scott Hall. Bastion, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Let's introduce ourselves real quick.
Well, if you don't know, you should know. This is Chico, Giovanni Anglin, Trinidadi, Panamanian Poppy, Rude Boy, Top Gunner, Suck Pan Yamada. Hi, everyone.
Yo, it's Bastion. This is who just teleported across the lands, recording live in LA. Gio is in Brooklyn. What's going on, folks?
And we just want to get into the show, people, because people always ask us, Giovanni, Bastion, when are you going to have guests on the show? When are you going to have people come on this platform to have a discussion on their latest ventures, on their latest platforms, and you know, something that we might be interested in learning about certain people? And to be completely honest, people, I think we answered this question before. People suck sometimes. These guests, sometimes guests suck, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to have you on just to talk about your mixtape. I'm sorry. Bastion, we get it all the time, don't we? We get emails.
Definitely in the emails too.
Emails upon emails of people who are musical producers, who are musical artists, and they want to come on this platform to talk about their music and their content, which I'm not knocking them. I just feel like I'm in the old age of now 27. You are as well, and I don't want to just trash people on their content anymore. That's not the energy that I want to convey on this platform. You know what I'm saying? I want to uplift us. I want to uplift black people. You know what I'm saying? I want to uplift all people, but for people who come on this show, I want them to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like 1020, they're good. You know what I'm saying? I just want the people who come on this show, I want them to feel welcome. I don't want to attack people like how I wanted to back in the day when we were in college. I wanted to be like Charlamagne. I don't want to do that no more.
Yeah, how you gonna diss your guests?
Exactly.
That's rude. And you invite them? Very rude. And you don't want to do that.
And what if I dissed them in studio? You're not here anymore, Bastion. You're all the way in. You're across the damn city.
Yeah, I'm in Europe now.
You've taken your talents over to Europe because you're sick of America. You are now bougie. You care about your portion controls now.
I can no longer jaywalk, so it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take.
You can no longer jaywalk. The large over there is basically our American small over here.
Yep.
And hey, I don't blame you, Bastion. I don't blame you. But without further ado, we have two guests we would like to introduce to you all today. First one is Minister Omar Hardy, who is an industrialist and media proprietor, the co-owner of the Black Lady Theater. He builds collective infrastructure that connects people with creative, economic, spiritual, and physical resources, allowing even the most disenfranchised among us to thrive. He's also the co-owner of the Elite Graphics with an X and a multifaceted print and graphic studio. as well as a leader on the WGE platform. Please welcome to Black Seinfeld, all the way via phone, Minister Omar Hardy. How are you doing tonight, sir? Thank you for being here at 12:07 at night. You are a warrior.
Shit, you know that's right, brother. Greetings, greetings.
Greetings.
Pleasure to be here.
How are you?
Right. Hey, brother, I'm blessed and highly favored. How you doing?
We're doing well. Thank you for being here. And also, we can't leave this brother out, man, because he's done so much for us, Bastion, hasn't he? He helped us out in our first ever Black Seinfeld Live. That was him, people. He was the technical man behind that, but also, when he's not doing that, he's doing things for himself. He has his own African studios. He's been a filmmaker. He's been producing film for a long time. People, okay, this man was working on a chef show not too long ago, and I'll never forget it. He had this one clip, right, where this woman who is melanin deficient, I'm not gonna lie, she made some chicken, but the chicken was pink. I'll never forget it. It was some raw ass chicken. I'll never forget it. Please welcome from the Black African Studios, Baba Tunde Odesanya. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, brothers, how y'all guys doing? I'm doing well.
Good to hear from you.
Great to be here, man. Hey, Bastion, what the hell are you doing in Europe?
No, I'm in LA. I'm joking.
He's joking.
I'm just in another land.
Last I heard, how the hell did he get to Europe?
Nah, Bastion he's just bougie now. He's growing. He wants to see more of America than just New York. Now he's on the Pacific side.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start the show. Basically, these two gentlemen are here because March 20th, 2022, live at 4 p.m. It's going to be via live stream. The Elephant in the Room Part 2, a conversation on Black mental health, specifically childhood trauma. Is that correct, gentlemen?
That's right. Well, we got one correction on there. We moved that to April the 21st.
Oh, damn. So April 21st. Okay, so you heard it here first. April 21st, 2022, a day after 420. April 21st, 2022, a conversation about Black mental health, childhood trauma, adverse childhood experiences. Yes, and this is part 2. What was part 1 like? What was the first discussion with the Elephant in the Room, part 1?
Yeah, we were down in... Go ahead, Omar.
The first one, it was a powerful discussion, a powerful panel of melanated brothers, and we was discussing, just like the title says, the elephant in the room, Black mental health.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, we did that one down in the Commons.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was like one of the last, one of our last hurrahs down there. And basically, Brother Omar, he comes from a long lineage. People in New York know about the slave theater. And, and the Black Lady Theater is like a child of the slave theater, but his pops, rest his soul, who just left us to go to the ancestors not too long ago, been warrior with Judge Phillips and that whole slave theater movement, and fighting against these non-melanated people trying to take their properties and all that stuff. So when I met the brothers, the sister first,
right?
The sister Cerise first, and she just zeroed in and was like, "All right, we got a mission. We need you to be a part of it." And I was just like, "All right, she's selling me something." But then when she brought the brother, I was like, "Okay, I see what you're selling. You got it." You know what I'm saying? So we connected like a Voltron force. We just vibed and like, yo, and basically, they had the program and I had the venue. I said, as long as it's something good for our people, and they came with this killer mental health piece, which was dope. They had the brothers. So for y'all that don't know, like most people don't know, this is the first year. Last year was the first time I went to therapy.
Wow.
And yeah, and I hated it. I was like, I had 5 sessions with this dude, and I was like, and then people were telling me, like, yo, oh nah, you gotta go get another one. That first one may not be a match. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta sit here again and tell somebody all my personal business. Like, this ain't working for me. So then when Brother Omar and his people came through with their mental health conversation, it felt like, first of all, I was talking around people who were just like me, my age group, brothers that, had life experiences. There were some younger brothers in there. There were some older brothers in there. But it was us talking.
Right, it helps.
It wasn't me sitting there whining to some dude who's, taking notes and punching the clock. And, after 50 minutes, like, okay, let's do this again next week. And the next week I go back, well, I just told you everything last week. Why am I repeating myself? It was terrible. But, I think what Omar put together is something that, is healing. And let's just face it right now, our leadership is devoid of anything healthy. They're just like, oh, okay, just get back to work and, wash it off and take these home tests. But there's nothing about, you've been locked up in the house for 2 years, or you exercising. There's nothing about what you've been eating. You've been ordering Uber Eats and Seamless, but have you been eating real food? Have you been taking your vitamins? No conversation like that at all.
Absolutely.
Like, nothing about yoga, nothing about meditating, nothing about dealing with all these dead people in your life. Nothing. That's irresponsible.
Tunde, we talked about this last week, actually, in that the death toll due to COVID has reached up the 6 million mark now. 6 million people globally have died from COVID. And one of the things that hasn't been really discussed was the fact that the mental health has been affected deeply, because people, as you said, have been locked in their homes for the past 2+ years, not really doing much, not really going out and socializing. And we start to understand and realize that, the suicide rates have been going up, and people dying from drug overdoses have been going up, because people have just been isolated this whole time, and people aren't really discussing the effects that COVID-19 really had on the mental of our people.
That's a fact.
True indeed.
That's a fact. And these areas is imperative, that we touch on these topics: mental health, emotional intelligence. Like Baba was just stating, it's really like, us as a people, we're taught to, be strong, like get over and keep going.
Yes.
We have to look at what causes some of the issues that we face. The trauma. You know what I mean? That's a real thing.
Absolutely.
And like this, the pandemic, that's just a piece of it. Us as a people, we face so much, but we are so resilient, and, we speak on that as well. So like it's, myself as a nation builder, as we are, like Baba stated again, we are building, we are nation building at the highest level. And this area is one of the many areas that we have to focus on, and as we build, what I'm saying. So yes, like how we just talking about with the event coming up on the 21st, we talking about adverse childhood experiences.
Right.
You think about it, there's so many things that kids go through that they have to deal with later on in life, but they don't even realize how it affects. I was walking, I went into a friend of mine building the other day, and before I even go up the stairs, I'm hearing what it appears to, a lady. She's yelling at the kids like wild, crazy. I'm like, damn, that's a form of trauma there.
Right.
There's ways that we have to deal with our youth, and our elderly, of course.
And our youth are just going through a pandemic, right? So they're seeing stuff that almost cursed. I didn't do it.
Good job, Tunde.
Things that we as adults don't know how to deal with. So how do we teach our children that's going through this life experience? You talked about the suicide rate. Now, how do we teach them not to internalize this pandemic and all these things they're seeing happen now when 10, 15, 20 years when they're adults? Like, we got to get our act together so we can get their act together, because they're coming up regardless. And they're going to have all these issues now that we don't want to deal with, they're going to have to inherit. You know what I'm saying? So this is it's paramount. Like, you know, this mental health piece is paramount, but it's all part of health. You know what I'm saying? It's not just mental health, it's physical health too. But people, like, for some reason, this country likes to divide things. And they say, okay, be healthy, but they don't talk about your mental health. Well, your brain is in your body. You can't separate the two. You know, it's this thing, you know, all kinds of stress comes out of poor mental health. You know, and stress, you know, we know what effect that stress has on the body, but nobody ever talks about the mental health issues that lead to stress.
Absolutely.
Not being able to process loss, not being able to accept defeat, or not be successful, or having a false sense of self where, you know, if you don't have the right car, you don't feel as good as, or, you know, all these fake mental projections that we put on ourselves based on this materialistic society, and, you know, how we measure success. Oh, I got a good job, or, you know, I have a woman, or, you know, I get a lot of them. All these things that really don't have nothing to do with a spiritual existence, but they have to do with a material capitalistic existence, which for some reason we think is healthy for us. You know?
Right.
And that's by design.
So here's the thing. Since we're talking about childhood trauma, especially for Black children, right? I remember having this discussion with Bastion and a lot of other different personalities on BAI, just to give them a perspective into our generations and stuff. Growing up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, I understood now that the things that I saw when I was young isn't the norm. You understand?
Right.
So to me, waking up to what I saw, it was just a normal. It was just a norm to me as a child. But growing up and venturing out and you know, seeing things at places that are quiet and friendly people, I understood that, you know, the communities that we're in and the conditions that we're living in isn't really meant for us to be living in. This state is so not normal. And I wanted to know if you guys were going to address the communities that we've been cultivated or basically just been stuck in this whole time. Are you guys going to address that at all? And the solution to overcome that?
Absolutely. We're gonna have what we have is a full infrastructure within the area. You know, we'll have some therapists. We'll have some pastors. You know, young children, the young generation that's there now, the older generation. We're gonna have a mix of the two. But as far as like just discussing these different things that affect us now, yes, I feel like, you know, we have to take a dive into like what exactly is going on within the home. You know, we're going to provide, not only are we going to be speaking about, you know, different issues or different things that might be affecting, we're going to discuss solutions. You know, we're going to provide programs. You know, we're going to other solutions as far as like eating a certain way, you know, because, you know, believe it or not, you know, what we put into our body, you know, definitely affects the mental as well.
Right.
You know, so all of these different areas, you know, we will be discussing and providing solutions as well.
Right. The key foods in the seat towns don't have the healthiest of options.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So we give alternative measures, alternative options. You know, we not only do we like have that area, but we also grow food, give different foods that are might be in the key food in the C-Town, but, give, a different option on how to prepare your different dishes, nutrients.
Yeah, one of our brothers, he has a CMOS company. He's CMOS,
Right.
That's one of our sponsors, one of our brothers, one of our panelists. It's like, just straight healing. Like, okay, what are you putting in your body? But here we actually have the products for people to put in their bodies, stuff that is healthy, not stuff that we created, stuff that nature created.
Right.
That one of the things during the pandemic, that happened with me was, I immediately went to start taking things to boost my immune system as soon as I heard what it was that was happening to people. So, I knock on wood, I've been COVID free.
Same here.
I don't know how many people actually actively took practice in making sure that they boosted their immune system. Kale, collard greens, vitamin K, that's very good for respiratory issues, which people are suffering from. So I've been, knock on wood, I haven't had a cold, a sneeze, or sniffle in the last 2 years. I'm probably the healthiest I've been since in my older age.
You were about to say your age. It's all good. You don't have to. I get it. I know. Bash and I know. We know. So, guys, can you guys tell us who is a part of the panel and run them down, tell them what they do as well, please?
Sure, absolutely. We have, we start off with my young brother, Muhammad Jala. He is the CEO of BKP. That's the Broken Kids Project. And that he spearheads, tapping into the youth, tapping into kids that might come from broken homes. He's tapping into right now through the apparel. He got from different hoodies, hats, T-shirts.
How old is that brother?
That brother, he's 21, 22 years old. 22 years old. So I met him coming into my print shop, and I just recognized his greatness. Like, wait, brother, how old are you? What are you doing? And you're wait, whoa. Like, seriously, right? And I'm here, structuring, the emotional intelligence programs, and then here it is. He walks in, and he's a CEO of that, the Broken Kids Project, and just like divine order. I said, nah, brother, we have to work together. We have to continue building, and plus, we got these different events coming on. So we're gonna have a line of events within the mental health field. Brain cognitive functions we're gonna be talking about. Like I said, the emotional intelligence. But yes, that's Muhammad. We also got my good brother Yusuf Ismail. He's the CEO of Beneficial CMOS. He's also been in the medical field for quite some time. But as my good brother Baba was just stating, that the CMOS, with him being, he's the CEO of that. But yeah, the CMOS, we are manufacturing that, producing that, and the CMOS has so many different benefits.
Right.
But him, that brother, Yusuf, he's definitely a healer. So we got the healers on deck. We also got my good brother
Nelvern Samuel, right?
Nelvern Samuel, yes, we could go to him next. Nelvern Samuel, he's a pastor. He's definitely a community activist, a bridge builder. I'm looking at his thing right now, but that's another powerful brother. He was on the Elephant in the Room Part 1, and definitely some amazing dialogue there. My brother Paul Cook, he's the founder of the emotional intelligence urban initiatives. You know, of course, which promotes the development of emotional intelligence, EI that I was speaking about, and social emotional learning to enhance the personal and social well-being of individuals and communicating in an urban setting. You know, and we have at least two more professionals that's coming in. We didn't confirm them yet, but that's the goal is to cover all these areas. Have that amazing panel. I mean, it's already amazing as I just revealed.
Yeah, I mean, and then just the other things they tie in. It's the spoken word that comes in that has the healing properties. I mean, during the first one, they was like, oh yeah, we got some music groups. I'm like, music groups? Man, the brothers got up there and spit that poetry and started singing them songs, those original shit. Man, it just brought everything together. It's a holistic experience. In the future, we're gonna hope to incorporate like sound baths and meditation, and it's just really going to be a transitional state because we have to promote health. We have to promote health. We have to promote health because no one else is promoting it. And,
right.
And so if we don't get that information, that knowledge, and build that infrastructure, that community around making sure that we're healing ourselves and we're healing each other, then we're just going to be a nation of sick people. And black people, we can't afford that doing that anymore.
Absolutely. Bastion, you got a couple of questions for them?
Well, I wanted to know, what do you guys have lined up after? Do you guys have other projects you would like the listeners to go and looking into? Do you have like a website as well?
Yeah,
definitely. So I'm gonna start off. There's several movements that, in addition to the elephant in the room, that we're doing. Sorry about that. Very unprofessional.
All good.
It's all good, Tunde.
So, I'm working with some artists. First of all, you can register for this event at africanstudios.net. Just go to the website. You'll see.
Is it African with the C or a K, sir?
It's with a C.
Okay.
African with a C.
That is important to ask.
I didn't do the K this time.
Okay, cool.
AfricanStudios.net. And Omar, what's your Instagram stuff?
The Instagram is at the Black Lady Theater. At the Black Lady Theater, and that's with the R-E at the end.
The British way.
There you go.
Right.
There you go. And then the website as well. www.theblackladytheater.com. Spelled the same way.
What about Twitter? You got a Twitter?
Nah, you know what? I don't.
Y'all gotta get on Twitter. Twitter is prominent for black voices. Black people basically built Twitter.
Okay.
We're on Twitter. There's a project that I'm working with. So we're working with a group of artists. One artist's name is Enron Lay, and we just released a series of NFTs that's around health and healing. So the concept is that we will sell the NFTs and then donate some of the money to the different groups and organizations that's promoting health and healing and social justice. So, we just don't want to tell people, okay, this is what to do. We also want to provide them with the means and resources to do it. So we're partnering with organizations that are doing the work, and we wanted to be a funding source for that. So I'm believing that the brother in Relay was going to give us a couple of NFTs to give out to the audience, and I'm getting a nod over here, so I believe that's going to happen. Just don't know how the quality is, but those type of initiatives where it's like, okay, we have the spiritual component, we have the education component, but we also want to tie in the economic component. So it's a full clip. You know what I'm saying? You're going there fully armored. What did they say? Is analysis plus capitalization plus execution is equal to success. Like if you have that formula, you can succeed in anything. If you have proper analysis, that you're properly looking at it in the correct way. If you have capitalization, that means you have financial resources to pay some bills. And then execution, are you going to get up and do the work? You know, are you just going to talk about it? But as long as once you have those three things together, anything could be achieved.
That was well said, Tunde. That was well said. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we sign out?
Yeah, I just let the people know that I know a lot of people are familiar with the Black Lady Theater. You know, just we are in a process of correcting all injustices, right? But in the meantime, in between time, we still are keeping on with our initiatives and our programming as such, as we just finished speaking about. You know, we definitely tap into our food distribution as well. We do that every Tuesday in front of the Black Lady Theater, where we feed right now on an average of 200 people every Tuesday. So yeah, definitely tap into that. You know, we got healthy food options. I mean, it's different every week, but that financial literacy. So you can definitely tap in the website and see some more of the programs that we have coming up, and just stay tuned. Just stay tuned as we continue to conquer and exercise our greatness.
All right, Tunde, what about you, man?
I mean, that's enough said right there. I just want to thank you and Bastion for letting us on. I ain't gonna tell you what happened yesterday, but today.
Oh no, I was already told. I was told already. Yo, they showed up yesterday, Bastion.
Who showed up?
They showed up in theater yesterday.
Eager to get on the show.
They showed up Tuesday night.
Eager, ready. Front center.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, Elephant in the Room Part 2. That was Minister Omar Hardy, Babatunde Odesanya. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, April 21st, 2022, live stream it. Elephant in the Room Part 2, a conversation in Black mental health, specifically childhood trauma. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for being on the show tonight, and please get some sleep now.
Thank you so much, fellas. It's been an honor.
Thank you, guys. Take care. All right, Bastion, that was it for now. We're going to take a little pause for the cause, a little break. You asked me to break out a Missy Elliott track, and so I did. I broke out one of my favorite Missy Elliott tracks, and that is All in My Grill, featuring the one, the only Big Boy from the Missy Elliott album, The Real World, and we'll be right back with more Black Seinfeld, the show about nothing. Stay tuned. That was Missy Elliott featuring Big Boy, All in My Grill, off of Missy Elliott's album The Real World. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, you're tuned into Black Seinfeld, the show about nothing. You just heard Mr. Omar Hardy, Babatunde Odesanya from the Black Lady Theater. And once again, they are having a discussion about Black mental health, the Elephant in the Room Part 2. And once again, you can check it out on streaming April 21st, 2022. Black Seinfeld is happy to lend out a hand to Black people who wants to do good by the community, and Black Seinfeld is sponsored today by them as well. So thank you all once again for coming on the show and discussing the importance of Black mental health amongst not only the children, but for just men and women like Bastion and I. How you doing, Bastion? You all right, man?
Yeah, doing well. And I love the conversation. We tend to talk about these things due to like our experiences. It could be our work experience and how mental health and how we could deal with that. And it's all about how you have to treat yourself, because at a certain point in time, especially growing up, you always felt like therapy was more of a privilege thing, because it's expensive. We watch these TV shows of characters sitting on the couch, and the joke is like, oh, am I charging you for this? So when you're dealing with your own personal trauma or your own personal issues that you don't even know it's trauma until maybe you talk to a person or you read an article online and you relate to it, then you're going to say, oh, I dealt through that and I did not know it affected me that badly. Now I think back, it's now you could kind of open a can of worms.
Right.
So now you would like to hop in and discuss this. So for the brothers out there, like for them to start a panel and discuss and actually have solutions to help people like you and me out, I think that's great. And I was just, I would love to see more from them at the Black Lady Theater.
Absolutely, because I remember, Bastion, like I'd say as far as 10 years ago, this stuff wasn't normal to discuss in the Black community, right? Therapy was, I know you say that therapy is a privilege, and that is definitely true, but for us in our community, like therapy and that stuff was looked down upon. You never really go to therapy or you talk about your mental health. I mean, hell, even as, being first generation Caribbean Americans, if you tell your parents that you're depressed, your parents don't really understand. Parents in general sometimes wouldn't really understand that, because their reaction is, well, what do you have to be depressed about? When I was home, we had to walk ourselves barefoot to school and da 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 da. What do you
20
have?
miles.
Right, exactly.
Walking for 20 miles.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think there's this disconnect with us growing up, but especially just in the Black community in general, about addressing our mental well-being, because it was just always looked down upon. It was frowned upon. You were looked at as weak if you tried to get in touch with your mental stability, because we as Black people, we've always been strong people historically throughout the test of times, So I think it's great now that we're starting to see, people become more open about just trauma that we've experienced in Black communities and just growing up in disenfranchised neighborhoods and poverty, et cetera, et cetera.
I do think it will start getting better. I do think it's more of a generation gap of a problem, because we could say our past generation, in terms of like our parents' generation, will look at it and just kind of question the whole idea of it. And then our generation will talk to them. We have a back and forth, but we know that the next generation will be a little bit more prepared, especially at an earlier age. If we could, share the wealth, share the information until maybe 3 generations down, it'll be more common. There'll be more of a local thing where you don't really have to, have insurance to set up 9 appointments, and then after the 9th appointment, you have to pay out of your pocket.
Right.
Because I have friends like that happened to them multiple times. As Tunde said, he's like, you spoke to someone, didn't have a good experience, and you think that's all experience until you talk to someone else. Then you start feeling better about yourself because that person actually listened. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, I think sometimes what really helps is if you talk to someone who understands a lot more on what it is that you're going through, but also they can relate to I'll say communal problems and communal interests. I think
even culture, I think is super important.
Absolutely.
Talking about Caribbeans, they beat you with a belt and a stick, and you think that's fine. In actuality, it's not a good idea, and you shouldn't beat your kids. Unless like they're badass kids, right? To the point where they're fighting in the street, they're fighting you. It's all right now, maybe, I don't know. That's still not a good thing. Maybe we talk about it, or at least prevent it to get there. That's another thing.
It's interesting that you say that, because you're saying that beating your kids isn't really right, and see, my whole thinking is still like, I guess it's because it's still traumatic to me. It's like, yeah, beating your kids is still fine. Beat their asses. Absolutely. Look at me, Bash. I got my ass beaten. I turned out fine.
So see, I always thought about that, but it's like now it's like the relationship between you and the parent is a little bit more of a power grab rather than an equal. Because I think at a certain point in time, like you have to treat them like equal. Like I think about how I treat my little brother. At a certain age, I stopped treating him like a little person unless he just didn't understand something. I'll explain to him and start treating him as an equal. It's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? If he knows more information than me, all right, that's fine. I don't have to feel like I'm the older brother. I should know more. You probably pay attention a little bit more than I do, or you've seen my information. Let's share the information together, because it could work the same thing with a parent. Let's say you try to correct your parent. They could be upset and angry, then beat you, right? That's where the distrust comes from. Now in the future, you're all grown up, you have new information to share them, but you just don't feel like talking to them about it because you have that trauma built in your mind about it. So that's how I look at beating.
That's very on point, Bastion, because that's exactly how I feel. So,
I'm thankful to have a great relationship with my parents. I could talk to them about anything. They're open book. But it's pretty interesting how these type of conversations happen. Never really thought about it. I'm glad we got a chance to hear that there's different ways to work. Like I said, check out the Black Lady Theater.
Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about some fun things.
Yeah, let's talk about some fun things other than black trauma. Damn it, this ain't a Tyler Perry movie.
It's not a TV show. And it's funny that people were complaining about like TV shows and movies when relatively it's not a lot. It's just I think they just get publicized, and on the article there's more articles written about it.
Absolutely.
But, shout out to Jordan Peele. We need some trauma and horror elements to it. I think we gotta spice things up a bit,
I'm interested in seeing that new Jordan Peele movie. Nope. Yeah, it's called Nope. That's literally what it's called. Bastion isn't saying he's not excited to see it. It's called Nope. From all we know right now, it's just about weather. That's all the trailer is. It's about weather. That's it. It's about this storm coming. We don't know what the storm is, and that's all we know. And I kind of like that.
What's funny about trailers? I saw Batman again maybe yesterday.
Nice.
And I was watching all the trailers, and I just started to think about like how trailers are supposed to tell you like either a glimpse of the story,
right,
or maybe even old school used to tell you the whole story.
Yes.
Like back in the day, if the trailer was good, I'll keep watching it, trying to kind of dissect it. And that's why I feel like Nope did. It did such a great job not explaining to it. And I only said Nope. I only brought this example up because his first movie, Get Out, pretty much told the whole entire movie while watching the trailer
without giving you the reveal, which was important.
Yeah, without the reveal, but it was a very fun experience. Like watching the trailer and say, "Oh, it's gonna be interesting." That you watch the movie, and getting a little bit more, but you still understood like the whole story. You knew where the scary parts were.
Absolutely, you knew where the scary parts were. You knew the general plot of the movie. You knew something was wrong in the movie, but you couldn't pinpoint what it was, and you needed to see the movie to further explain. Okay, what the hell is actually going on? Nope, it's none of that. There's a storm coming. That's literally it. Daniel Kaluuya is in it again. Love Daniel Kaluuya. Him and Jordan Peele. I don't know. This is a new dream team. Hopefully he's learned his lessons. Hopefully he stayed his ass away from white women in this movie. I know he's with the family here, but you never know. A white woman could just spring up on him, and he reverts back to his old ways. I'm just saying. And I saw the Batman twice. I saw it in just a regular theater this time, and I remember we had a discussion on the fact that you need to see this movie. If you can, watch it in IMAX, watch it in RPX, watch it in Dolby, watch it in the Regal version of Dolby. I don't know what it is. I think it's called like RPX screen or something like that. But if you didn't watch this movie before, or you want to watch it again, you have to watch it again on the big screen with the banging ass surround sound, so you could hear every single sound. Because when I saw it again in just the original theater, I really couldn't hear like Bruce's footsteps. I couldn't hear that like how I heard it in the RPX version, or the engine, the Batmobile engine didn't hit me the same way like it did when we watched it the first time. So yeah, and that
this
trailer
is why I go back to the idea of home theater. It's in small space. The
No,
speakers is
Bastion.
great. You'll be able to hear everything. No, you
No,
disagree still?
I still disagree. I'm sorry, I vehemently disagree with you because
Home
we
theater
need
is a
the
privilege.
big ass. No, it's not a privilege. You can watch it literally for $6 on a Tuesday if you have the time to.
No, I mean home theater. Home
Oh
theater.
yeah, that is a super privilege, bro. What? You know how much time you have to invest in getting a banging ass projector or a screen and then the surround sound, and it has to be good.
Hey, you don't have to get the surround sound anymore. You just need a good sound bar, and they make really nice ones. But $1,000 on the sound bar is a lot of money.
Oh, really? They're like $1,000 now.
Yeah, like Sonos. There's a range.
yeah.
You got your easy, $50 ones on Amazon. You can't really split the difference between the vocals and the background, but it's good enough. And then you have your really complex ones like the Dolby Atmos, where there's speakers on the top and speakers on the side. My boy Andy actually told me about all this.
Shout out Andy.
Now it could actually send sound to the ceiling. So if you're watching a movie when it rains, it actually feels like it's raining on top of your head.
That's tight. See, yeah, I would want something like 360 sounds and all that, but
that's what it is. And this is what I mean. This is why I keep pushing, I keep pushing the agenda of the home studio, the home watching experience, the home entertainment experience. We no longer, pandemic didn't just teach us that, we have a lot of mental issues with ourselves, especially like a cloudy mind. It also made us realize that being inside and watching a good movie with a good setup clears all the drama.
Don't do that. So, wow, that's where we're going with this, Bastion.
I have an agenda, and I have to always, shove it in somewhere.
No, you know what the pandemic proved? Once you're back in the theaters and you're watching the theater amongst many to enjoy a film like Spider-Man No Way Home, like The Batman, sometimes having that camaraderie with people who you share the same interest with, it enhances the theater, the movie watching experience.
Hey, I could push this agenda too. What we could do now is we have this watch party where we all have videos together and we have the sound on. If someone says something, we could all hear it. But if I don't like your comments, I just mute you. And there you go. Got the same experience. Then next thing you know, it's going to be YouTube clips of everybody's, soy facing on the Zoom calls.
That sounds awful. Oh man, did you see any other movies besides the Batman for a second time, or was it just the Batman again?
No, it was 3 hours. It was just that. I didn't really go to any IMAX. Like I said, relatively just a regular theater, so I didn't want to waste much money on it. Didn't really want to go out. But hey, you know what today is? This is a very special day for somebody.
It is a very special day. Well, for me right now, it's St. Patrick's Day. It's 3/17, but for Bastion it's still 3/16. What? It means it's Austin 3/16 Day. What? It means it's Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. What? That means Stone Cold Stunners. What? It means middle fingers. What? It means 4-letter words. What? It means raising all hell. What? And a hell yeah. Give me hell yeah. What? But most importantly, son, that means drinking a whole bunch of beer. So I went down to the beer shop, which isn't too far from here. It's on Willoughby Street. And they had the Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull IPA, son. And I got the last 3 beers. And I got to tell you, Bastion, I'm not a fan of IPA. I don't like the citrusy. I know. I don't like the citrusy, soury taste of IPAs. White people, y'all love IPAs. I'm just gonna say it. It's midnight. Y'all don't care. I'm gonna say it. Y'all love IPAs. I remember working downstairs and we had this brand called Other Half IPA, right? And Other Half is a very popular brand here in Brooklyn. And so Other Half was so popular, their brewery would just have people lined up. It's like people lined up for some new sneakers. It's that crazy when they come out with some new exclusive beer. It's like that crazy, but yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin has his own brand of beer.
IPAs are agenda too.
They are. They're an agenda.
Yeah, because at a certain point in time, beer is just beer, and you can either go for something either dark or very chocolate based. Well, in my opinion,
Guinness,
the Guinness, right?
Stouts are more chocolatey based, heavier.
Oh yes, you go for the stout, or you go for something light. It's a nice light Coors beer. I never drank it before, but I've
Right.
seen 1,000,001 commercials about it since I was like 7. So
Right. Yeah, basically, yeah, in the Caribbean background, it was either like Guinness, Heineken's, Coronas, Red Stripe. That was it.
interesting. I feel like I don't remember. There's a Haitian brand. I'll look it up for a second.
Ooh, is there?
But yeah, I forgot what it's called.
And if you're Dominican Presidente, I know y'all love that.
But yeah, I do think it's just a added field, the same way as wine is very diverse. It's been here for centuries, right?
Absolutely.
But beer is a little bit more recent in time, in the linear age.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to have like more options, not just beer, just like different palettes, different colorings, and very subjective language in order to describe palatable taste, because there's only so much words we could use to describe sour.
Absolutely.
Or
And
bubbly.
and because it's 316, Stone Cold Steve Austin actually came out with his new brand of beer, which was American Lager. And because I'm American trash sometimes, I prefer lager over IPA any time of the day. Ooh, it's called Prestige. That's Haitian beer.
Prestige.
Huh.
In a very brown bottle.
Nice.
And I can't really describe the taste. Maybe all beers taste the same to me.
That's
I don't
fair.
like beers. I just go for any alcoholic drink, vodka, or
What?
Hennessy.
What?
That's what I go for, man. What the Douce, the pineapple juice.
Huh. You know what, Bastion? I've actually never seen you drink beer.
Yeah,
you
I
don't like
just
it.
don't like it. Like, it probably has to do with the bubbly taste,
The carbonated feeling.
the carbonated feeling. Like, I don't mind carbonated white wine. I think it's not that bad. It's pretty good. But as a kid, you give me a can of soda at a party, I'm not gonna finish it. And it comes with the same things. Like, give me a beer. It's really hard. I don't have to force myself to finish in this crowd of people, because it's conversation. That's what alcohol is at a certain point in time.
It's a social
not
thing.
really. It's a social thing. It's not really enjoyable at a certain point in time.
That is true. Alcohol sometimes sucks, people, especially if you're drinking it by yourself. But when you're in that social setting and you have that bottle of beer or a glass of wine in your hand, you blend in a lot more, and you're able to maneuver around and just talk to people.
Yeah, it's a hand coordination thing, where having your phone in your hand in conversations is a bit disrespectful and distracting to you.
It is, and you close yourself off from people.
Yeah, it's like this kind of lack of eye contact. But then now you have the beer. Well, you're gonna look at the beer. The person think, "Oh, you're gonna take a sip," and the conversation's still flowing. You look at your phone, and it's like, "Oh, am I distracting you for something?"
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like, oh, you must be on Instagram or something. You might be updating your Twitter or something like that. You're absolutely right, man. But hold on, you like Stella from time to time. You don't drink it all the time, but I remember you talking about, Stella isn't horrible.
No, it's not horrible. Same thing you can say like Blue Moon, and mostly I'm a big fan of Guinness, but it's such a dark
Yo,
beer. It's
Bodman,
like,
stouts, yeah.
when can you really drink and enjoy it? You
That
can't
is
eat it with
true.
wings. You need something light with wings. Well, I think shots, or like tequila shots, or
Right.
and like I said, like any quick drink that you just less than 6 ounces and some ice, and you're pretty much good to go. And then you eat some wings right after. That's perfect.
The same philosophy I have about milk is like, remember, if you drink like more than a gallon of milk, you can puke. That's the same way I feel about stout. I can only drink so much Guinness, but I feel like I'm gonna puke at the end.
Yeah, especially like I said, it's about like empty stomach. If your stomach is full, you'd be good. But if you're, most likely, if you're drinking, it'll be around 6-7 o'clock. That's when you start.
Happy
Probably
hour.
didn't eat yet. Yeah, exactly. You probably didn't eat just yet. So to drink a stout with like a meal, it's just like double fill. It's like drinking ice cup. It's like, if you're trying to lose weight, you drink a whole glass of ice cold water before you eat, and you feel full faster. Same concept.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. All that to say, I still don't like IPAs, and I feel I'm more American trash. I do appreciate a lager a lot more than an IPA. Like, my go-to is either, I know it's not a lager, but my go-to at a bar would be a Stella, Modelo, or then I'll just go to a lager. I'll go to Budweiser. Budweiser is actually really good. If you just
Heineken's all right, you know.
Heineken's okay. That's
Like
cool.
premium beer. Okay, here, since we're still in this topic that we sidetracked,
Yes, a beer.
lately, you know, like I said, I've been watching these commercials since I was 7. It's in my, like, I know these brands. They're not my friends. I don't drink them, so it's okay.
Right.
But there are now, I remember watching this commercial where they now sell beer tasting non-alcohol beer.
Yeah. Non-alcoholic Heineken.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's very counterintuitive. I think it depletes the whole purpose of drinking beer or having that, because it's not even alcohol it's just beer at the end, I guess. I think it's counterintuitive because it takes away the fun of why you're drinking in the first place. You're drinking to get a bit of a buzz. You're drinking to get somewhat messed up. You're drinking to escape some of your problems sometimes. You're drinking to mask your senses, to hook up with that person that you probably wouldn't really hook up with if you were sober, but you need some of that liquid courage in order to go ahead and go through with that. You're drinking to
Get through your day.
Yeah, to get through your day. You're drinking to build some sort of confidence within yourself to go ahead and talk to that guy or talk to that girl or talk to that person. You're drinking as a social setting, you know, so you can open up a lot more. And I think having a non-alcoholic beverage or a non-alcoholic beer, which should have alcohol, I think it's a cop-out, and I think it's cheating.
Well, everything you described is probably how the first people tasted Coca-Cola. Then they switched up the formula to less Coke. So, am I right? You know,
that is true.
Confidence, you know, makes you stronger. You're able to focus, gives you all that buzz and flavor. Mm-hmm. Then you remove the good stuff, and now you just have Coca-Cola.
This is the Coke Zero of alcohol now.
So
Beer
this
Zero.
is what I mean. This is the beginning of something long that's going to happen in the future. We don't see it just yet. But the same way Coca-Cola started, right?
Right.
Like down the line, it's just going to be cleaner. It's the same way how, you know, you could go back maybe 100 years ago. We're on a time machine, right? Go back 100 years ago in Italy. We asked for espresso. They don't give it to us. But I say, hey, can I get a non-decaf espresso?
I still look at you crazy.
Exactly.
I still look at them crazy. So it's like, what? No, see, this is barista stuff right here because what the hell are you doing? Seriously?
So at a certain point in time, you no longer want the buzz, you want the flavor.
Yeah.
Right? You want the experience. That's what it is. That's why I look about this, and that's why I look at this non-alcoholic beer. It's no longer about drinking alcohol and feeling buzzed. It's more about the experience of holding a bottle and drinking alcohol. That's why, you know, when you're a kid, you're drinking the cola, right? You know, the passion, high fructose corn syrup cola.
Right.
So much sugar is going to blow your brain. You know, you're holding it next to like your cousin's drinking beer. You feel like he's the man.
You know, I'm not going to lie, Bastion. That's exactly how I feel with drinking a Coke Zero because it has that same Coke flavor. But you know, it doesn't have all the high fructose corn syrup and all the sugars and all that stuff. So
it still has the sugars. It's slightly worse for you, but me getting into the
the
politics of Coke Zero.
I know, Bastion. just let me have this one, okay? You know what I'm saying, basically, right? You know where I'm trying to get at here. But
okay, fine. It's like they brainwash you, then you is even healthier. So
right. There you go. Exactly. Here's the thing, though. Since we're on this discussion, let's just still stay on this, right? Say if someone has alcohol problems, right? For example, and you know they've been drinking their lives away, and now you know they're sober, and now there's zero alcoholic beer. You know, do you think in just drinking zero alcoholic beer, you know, that might not, you know, give them that hit that they once had once upon a time, which can lead them back to drinking the actual alcoholic beverage. You see where I'm saying? What if this is like a slippery slope back into what they used to do?
My assumption of that for what you described with let's say someone that had bad experience with alcohol, just drinking non-alcoholic alcohol or beer is not alcohol no more.
Exactly.
At the same way I look at people who used to smoke, you know, who used to be chain smoking, you know, smoking 2 packs a day, Now, instead of doing that, they're just using either nicotine gum, or they're what's the other smoking thing?
I know that there's vape pens,
vape. Either you doing nicotine with vape
or nicotine patches,
using nicotine patches, and now it's just more of a they'll do it all the time. So your obsession with either the experience, well, I think people that are addicted to alcohol is not really about the taste, more of the drunkenness of it. But at a certain point, if you're still trying to wean yourself off of it, you might just get obsessed with the next thing. So now you might be drinking a lot of non-alcoholic beer, and I don't know if it will give you the same, because it's like a lot of wheat. You're dealing with a lot of carbs, give you that belly.
Beer belly.
Beer belly. So you're going to drink more than one. And that's kind of the biggest issue with low alcohol beer. You need to drink more to get that buzz. Hence, you will get that beer belly.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think it's counterintuitive. But I don't think anybody that drinks beer, I think they'll just try to drink something else when they're in those settings, like water or soda or something.
Yeah, you're definitely right. How the hell did we get on this heavy discussion?
We're talking about 316.
Oh yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin 316. Yeah, because that's all he did. He just flipped people off, give Stone Cold stunners, and like just drink a whole bunch of beer. See, I know you don't even watch wrestling matches, but you know who Stone Cold is.
No, you walk around with the jersey, and what you just said about Blackwood Zombie, I'm pretty sure they had a T-shirt and it had 316 on the back, because they love Stone Cold as well. So I learned from osmosis of wrestling, as you say. As I said, rappers love wrestling.
Absolutely.
So it's you just learn more about it, even just listening to music.
And at that time,
Daypack Mafia loves wrestling too. He's
100%. He loves AEW.
Exactly.
Hell yeah, man.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite rapper right now.
Yeah, and during that time, Bastion, back in like the late 90s, Stone Cold Steve Austin, he wasn't even just like a major pro wrestler. He was just a megastar. Like, he was everywhere. Like, this dude was everywhere, man. He was in movies, magazines. He was even in MTV Deathmatch, for crying out loud. Like, this man was everywhere. This man is a cultural icon. If you don't know wrestling, you may know Hulk Hogan, you're gonna know Stone Cold, you're gonna know The Rock, obviously, and then you're gonna know John Cena. That's about it when it comes to like regular people who don't know wrestling but may know some wrestlers. Those are the four guys right there. So that goes to show the mainstream appeal to Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hell yeah.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
So like the whole thing about wrestling is like you need to have like a brand, you need to have a face, a story, a background. Maybe it's a little bit of drama. Hopefully there's no court cases. Hopefully you don't go to jail for 150 days. And hopefully you don't get it overturned. And maybe it started off as a good story, a very interesting supportive story, until maybe it becomes your villain story.
2 years ago, Bastion. 2 years ago. March 16th, 2019 was the first time we ever discussed the Jussie Smollett saga. And I remember it vividly because we talked about Jussie's claims in the story where 3 o'clock in the morning in a cold Chicago wintry night, one Jussie Smollett, that guy from Empire. Remember Empire, Bastion? It was a very popular show once upon a time on Fox with Taraji P. Henson, Terrence Howard, and also one Jussie Smollett. And he was hungry and he wanted some Subway. And as he's going to get Subway, he was approached by apparently 2 Caucasian men wearing MAGA hats, and they recognize him from Power. I'm assuming they're fans. And they called him the F word that rhymes with maggot, N-word from Empire. Thus, stomping a mud hole in his ass, and then putting a noose around his neck, pouring bleach on him, and somehow the sandwich remains intact. He files a report about it. Everyone is showing their support to Jussie Smollett. Justice for Juicy. Justice for Jussie Smollett. We're so happy. I mean, we're so upset that this
Supportive.
happened. We're so supportive of him. Stop the hate crime. You see what Donald Trump has done to this country.
Gotta watch more episodes of Power.
You have to watch more episodes of Empire, sir, not Power.
Oh, yeah, my fault. Because
That's-
Empire's fake version of Power.
There you
Power's
go.
Real. Got you.
Exactly.
You know, Queens represent.
And for the most part, majority of people were on Jussie's side. You know, he called himself the gay Tupac for fighting back. But
He did call himself that, right?
he did call himself the gay Tupac. I'll never forget that.
Outrageous.
Yeah, he was in some concert or whatever, and they brought Jussie out, and he was like, you know, I fought back. That's what's important. And people were cheering like, all right, Jussie. And then he just goes, I'm the gay Tupac. I'm just like, what? And so for the most part, majority of people online definitely were on Jussie's side, except for a few people. I remember Joe Budden being one, talking about his suspicions immediately about the whole Jussie case. But also me, Bastion. I remember being very suspicious about this case because the red flags just started firing off on all cylinders, right? I'm a psychologist too, right? I got a degree in psychology. So one thing about psychologists,
Non-doctorate psychologist.
I'm not,
Great.
but it's a real degree, Bastion. You were there. You heard
okay,
them call
Dr.
my
Umar,
name.
I believe
You
you,
heard them
my
call
brother.
my name. You heard it. You were my witness here. Back me
Yeah.
up here.
I don't know. Your degree says, Bachelor in Arts.
Whoa,
No, in Science.
Science. You're damn right. I have double. But anyways, right? One thing about psychology majors is you're supposed to analyze people, right? And I analyzed the situation, and I kept saying to myself, Bastion, this doesn't add up. This is red flags immediately. Think about it. At 3 o'clock in the morning, and a cold ass Chicago night. Remember, Chicago is called the Windy City for a reason. It's below freezing outside, and you're hungry for Subway?
My favorite part about that story is I do remember, because usually when the weather's so bad in the city and it makes the news, like, you can't forget that.
Right.
And I do remember it was reported that it felt like below 10. It was just super cold. I'm in New York. Like, why do I know Chicago weather? Because people spoke about it. That's how cold it was.
Yeah, it broke records, people.
It broke records. I think they were telling people, like, don't go out for in a certain time.
Exactly. Don't go out.
You're not built for this.
Especially at 3 o'clock in the morning when you shouldn't be out anyways.
Yeah.
Especially in Chicago.
It's like a winter front. in
Exactly.
Chicago.
But even the biggest red flag of it all is you still go outside anyway, and you go outside for Subway. First off, I didn't even know Subways were 24 hours in certain locations. I didn't know that. Secondly, I'm sure there's a lot more better options in Chicago than goddamn Subway. I'm just saying. Bastion, I know you and we would eat Subway, but we had an excuse. We were in college, okay? And we just need something to fill us up, okay? We just needed matter, okay? We needed food, all right?
I need a buffalo chicken sandwich
Exactly.
with Italian bread.
Absolutely,
A little
yes.
bit of Chipotle sauce.
Yes.
Just to hold us down for class until 6 p.m.
Exactly. Jussie Smollett at this time was not a college student, okay? All right, he didn't need that, okay? And then
Again, 200 grand per episode.
you're damn right. You're getting 200.
No, maybe less. I think he wanted 200. I think he was getting 40K.
Right.
Because this is like a whole money thing.
Right.
This is what started the story. He wanted a pay rise, and they didn't want to give it to him, so he needed to kind of get into the known celebrityism of the world, and people support him. So now, if they don't give him that pay rise, he looks Fox looking kind of funky. So
absolutely right, Bash.
Talking about analyzing.
You were absolutely right. And then what makes matters even more suspicious, two random people with MAGA hats recognize you in the middle of the night below freezing in Chicago and calls you the F word that rhymes with maggot, N-word, from Empire. And they're racist too, mind you, because remember, they have the MAGA hats. I'm just saying, it just sounds suspicious. I explained my thoughts. I expressed my feelings of just how wrong this felt. And what did you people do? Y'all ridiculed me. Y'all ridiculed Joe Budden. Y'all ridiculed us because we thought outside the box here. We actually analyzed this stuff, people. And what happens? What actually happened when Chicago PD did some investigation? Guess what, people? They found out this whole shiznit was a sham. It was fake. It was staged because the two people who allegedly beat up Juicy Smoulier were the two people who was his friends. And in fact, one of the twin African dudes was busting down on Juicy. And they were extras on Empire. And I was two things, Bastion. I felt
don't forget that there was footage of them shopping for the.
Yes, there was footage of them shopping for the news.
That was released by the end of the week.
They had the whole hats with them and everything. Okay, and two things I felt immediately. One was validity, because for once I was right about my suspicions, and two was immediate anger because Bastion, and I knew it because I knew conservative media would eat this shiznit up, and they did. Because of Jussie's actions, I knew for a fact that conservative media would start talking about this situation and go, you see, this goes to show that, you know, racism.
All situations similar to this is fake.
It's fake. It's not real. You know, Trump supporters aren't racist. You know, conservatives aren't racist people that just throw nooses on people and douse them with bleach. This goes to show that hate crimes are fake. And that's what happened because of Jussie. And so we waited a while, Bastion. We waited 2 years. No, I'm sorry, 1 year. No, sorry, 2 years. Yeah, 2021.
It was like a couple months. You got charged, and the charge would drop immediately. The cops didn't like that because the cops were just upset about the whole thing.
Right.
Because it made them look bad, and they were mad. So they charged them. Then the DA dropped the charges, and they weren't happy that the DA didn't even look at the case. Mm-hmm. So they charged him again with other stuff, and this is what happened recently.
Absolutely.
And just the other day, I think like maybe 3 days ago, he was recently sentenced to 150 days in jail.
Plus a fine.
Plus a fine of $150,000, I think. And he also had, with the fine of $25,000 and the tuition to the city of Chicago for $120,000.
There you go.
And he just had to stay in jail for 150 days.
That's right.
And was also given 30 months felony probation, which is, over 2 years.
Exactly. And he was found guilty too on 5 counts of felony charges. He wasn't charged for the 6th one, but he was charged for 5. That was important. And so during the day of sentencing, which is 2-3 days ago, Jussie stood up and he talked about how he was innocent and he's still gonna fight. He didn't do this. He basically looked like R. Kelly in front of Gayle King. That's exactly what he looked like. That's exactly what he sounded like. I didn't do this stuff. Are we live? Can they see me? I didn't do this. Why would I do this? That was Jussie, okay? And
fighting for my life.
He's fighting for his life. Oh, he would have been fighting for his life in jail. Jussie would have had to bust down with some bussy. How about that, Jussie? And wait, what else did Jussie say? He was like, hey, I just want to let y'all know if something happens to me in jail, it wasn't me who did it, right? Because he thought he was going to get Epstein in jail. Allegedly.
Yeah, he said he's not, he won't kill himself, like he's not suicidal or something like that.
Right. So if something happens to him in jail,
I am not suicidal.
Right. Yeah, I'm not crazy. I'm not suicidal.
If anything happens to me there, I did not do it. I am not suicidal. I am innocent, quote unquote.
Yes. So I thought if everything was right in the world, Bastion, I felt like justice prevailed somewhat because he only got 150 days, but somewhat, he a liar got what he deserved, and now some jail time for some serious offenses. I can't believe I actually had to defend the Chicago PD, had to defend police on this one. Couldn't believe that.
Like the whole thing's not even. Yeah, I understand. Like you felt like defending them, but I always thought it was like, hey, I guess you guys got to work.
Right. But then I remember seeing people come out on Twitter being like, oh, police like to frame black people and they like to frame black men and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bruh, I vehemently disagree that the Chicago PD would go out their way to frame one Jussie Smollett. Nah, I don't think he's big enough for that. Sorry. Respectfully, like I don't think the Chicago PD
here, talking about defunding the police every day in this platform,
right?
We don't know anything. If anything, he's probably for the police. I don't know. I won't say that.
I just knew him as Journey Smollett's brother. That's all I knew him as.
That's it. In a empire type, in the music industry type TV show.
Right. That's all I knew him as.
Our favorite artists get sound play on that show. So
right.
Or up-and-coming artists.
Right. That's all I knew him as, people. And the fact that he now got the appeal, he's out of jail right now, that just makes me sick. And the reason why they wanted him out immediately was because they felt like Jussie wasn't safe in jail. You make me sick. My stomach is churning. I have not been disappointed like this in a long time, Bastion. In a long time. Because I thought justice would finally prevail for a liar like Jussie, okay? They should have freed Jussie in 5 years like Freddie Gibbs said. But no, his ass is out. And now he's appealing. And now we got to go through this whole process again. And I'm sick of it. Jussie Smollett, people. Wrong for America. Wrong for the black community. Wrong for the LGBTQ plus community as well. Y'all should be ashamed of him too for lying. Let's wrap this up. Happy 316 day, everyone.
Let's get into the next song of the week.
Let's get into the next song of the week, Bastion. You asked me to pick a Fka Twigs song, and so I did that for you as well. Here is Fka Twigs from the album Capri Suns, not Capri Suns, but Capri Sun, because she's a Capricorn, I'm assuming. She's a sun sign Capricorn. Here is Tears in the Club featuring one Abel Tesfaye, The Weeknd. And we'll be right back with more Black Seinfeld, show about nothing. We're going to get into some music, get into some new albums, etc., etc. We'll be right back, people. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. That was Fka Twigs featuring The Weeknd with Tears in the Club from the album mixtape Capri Suns that came out this January 2022. Still one of my favorite projects of 2022. What about you, Bash?
Yeah, still definitely up there. Very interesting idea of a singer like her doing a mixtape. So I was very surprised for the direction she was going. More party vibes. So as a dancer, right?
Absolutely, right?
You want some more dance music? So let's dance.
Yeah, it was a lot more happy this time around.
Yeah, I'll say there's more relatable topics for everybody in the mixtape. But yeah, it was pretty fun. But speaking of fun, you know who had some fun?
Tom Brady.
I think he had some fun, like tricking everybody,
trolling the hell out of America.
Football is huge. I think football is like one of the biggest sports in the United States. I don't know if it's just not making as much money as the NBA, or it's just a different type of revenue stream. Maybe the owners are making a lot more. I have to do a little bit more research on that. But there is more of, I don't want to say more, it's still a sport. People still are accustomed to put their heart and passion wearing that jersey outside, with the number of the player and the name.
It's like America's pastime.
Yes, America's pastime is this type of passion. But what comes with being like the best of your class, being the best of all time, and even when you pass what we call prime age in sports, which is pretty much like once you hit like 32, you're not as fast as you are, not as quick, you're not making quick decisions like you used to. But this man is 44.
He will be once again the oldest man in the NFL. And I'll say this, listen, I respect Tom Brady. I said this 2 months ago. I respect Tom Brady. I respect all of his accolades, okay? 7 Super Bowl championships is an incredible feat, Bastion, because unlike baseball, unlike basketball, it's only one game you have in the playoffs, and it's one game at the Super Bowl. You don't have a best of 7 series, and you have to win all of those games in order to win that championship. No losing. You lose, you're out. And the clip rate that Tom Brady has within the Super Bowl itself, he's won 7 out of 10 appearances in the Super Bowl. That's a 70% clip rate right there. That's incredible. That's phenomenal.
I like to say that's almost impossible because most legends that, especially in football, probably max 2 times.
Yes.
They'll get to the Super Bowl because this is like, football and baseball, I think they're very similar in terms of just because you made it this year, next year, not promised.
Absolutely.
I think basketball, you have a little bit more consistency in terms of making it to the finals or at least the conference finals.
Absolutely.
But something like football and baseball might not be able to touch the top.
Absolutely. 100%. And the fact that Tom Brady can go back to back and also win that many Super Bowls. It's, you got to give the man respect when respect was due. So when he finally decided 2 months ago to walk away from the sport of football, we all gave him his flowers because you have to respect the GOAT. Unfortunately, that is Tom Brady. You have to respect all the accomplishments that he has made while his time in the NFL. So I was happy that I never had to see his face again, but also I just respected that, hey man, there probably will never ever be another Tom Brady ever again, okay? That man has, I would assume, Jordan-like sociopathicness. He's probably a sociopath. Similar to Michael Jordan. I rewatched The Last Dance again, Bastion, just cause, and again, was Jordan the nicest teammate? No. But he had to be a dick in order for him and his teammates to become what they were. Similar to Tom Brady. We've seen Tom Brady frustrated on the sidelines sometimes. We see him throw his helmet, ripping his teammates into a new asshole. We've seen that happen. We've seen it. And so I thought this would be a nice time for Tom Brady to go out at 44 years old, enjoy his family, enjoy his supermodel wife, enjoy his kids.
Richer than him.
Rich as hell. He's in Florida now. It's warmer there. Okay, he just brought a freaking championship to Tampa. Okay, we thought
his first year there.
His first freaking year there. That was crazy within itself. I thought, all right, this is a great way to bow out gracefully and, just enjoy the fruits of your labor. And 2 months later, Bastion, he said, screw you guys, I'm coming back home to the NFL.
The first thing that came up to my mind the other night was like Dirk Nowitzki night and just like watching this guy because he's sitting. And it's like, yeah, I remember when they forced him to retire. Is there no way he said in the beginning of the season, this is my last season? They asked him, he said, yeah, I could do another season after this. And then they just kind of did this fake goodbye tour for him. And then he had to retire. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was washed. He just no longer could play. Mm-hmm. That's what happens in the NBA. Not as quick as he used to be.
Right, but Tom Brady, he made it to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
No, but
he made it past round 1.
But they still, legends, they still want them to retire no matter what. Because if we remember, we spoke about this 2 months ago. Someone reported that he's going to retire. Then he had to come out saying he didn't make a statement yet.
That is
he
true.
He didn't make a decision. Then 2 days later, he made a statement.
That is true.
Not sure if he felt obligated by just looking at people's, got love for the game, I respect the GOAT, But at a certain point in time, it's like, wait a minute, did I make this decision because this is what the people want? Or am I going to make the decision that's best for me and my ability? Because, soccer players, basketball, LeBron James, for example, we have the technology.
Yeah.
Stronger, better, faster, good dieting, exercise routines, massages, therapy. We can now make that 28 all the way to, we can now make that 38 to a 28-year-old body. You still have that same ability. So if you're able to push for it, of course, it's very difficult to do. Expensive, very expensive. It's a privilege thing. But yeah, that's the way I look at it. I look at this whole thing as this kind of comedy setup. I don't care for football whatsoever. I do think it's a great sport to watch in the playoffs, or I do think one game a week is really good because it's a very brutal sport. But come on, I love to see people kind of cry losing to Tom Brady. I have nothing to lose watching him either, so it's all fun games for me.
I thought, you know what? No, Tom Brady's retirement was shorter than Kim Kardashian's and Chris Humphrey's marriage. It really was, the way I look at it now. Because how long were they married, Bastion, 10 years ago? Like 70-something days?
72 days or something like that.
And he only lasted 2 months, 6 weeks. He was retired. And he said, screw his kids, and he's going back on the gridiron.
Hey, man, maybe the war is just better than coming back home.
I guess. It'd be crazy if Tom Brady makes it to the Super Bowl again next year.
Hey, if he makes it to the Super, if anything, if he wins 3 games in the playoff, it's still crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I said, it's really, really difficult to make it to the championship or even the conference final.
Yeah. So. And I do agree with you, Bastion. I do think he wasn't ready to step away yet. I don't think he was. Not at all. After making a 6-week decision like that. Off forever.
Greatness, especially in terms of like Michael Jordan, it's like you retire. I think my dad was telling me, you retire twice. You retire when you want to retire, or you retire when the game tells you retire. And as of right now, the way I look at it, he's nowhere near the game. There's nowhere near you're washed. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, Jordan retired 3 times though.
Yeah, I understand the first time. That's because he was just too nice at the game. It's like, I'm bored.
And his dad passed away.
That too, yeah.
And they were being assholes to him in the media. Well,
because he was gambling and they were keeping him on the low.
Right.
But he's the star, but we ain't got to talk about that. Yeah. But you gotta understand, you can make your own choices, or the game has to retire you. And for Jordan, maybe the first 2 he made his own choice, but when he came back in that nasty Washington Wizards jersey, the game retired.
Well, Bastion, I'm glad you talked about the Washington Wizards era of Jordan, because 2 things about that really quick. One, they really should make a documentary about the Washington, Michael Jordan's Washington Wizards era. It doesn't have to be like The Last Dance 10 episodes, but like a nice hour and 30 minutes of the final dance, you can call it, or Jordan's Last Dance, just covering the whole
Jordan Requiem.
You're right. If you just want to cover the whole Jordan Washington Wizards era, I think that would be pretty cool, because point number 2, aside from Space Jam, that was actually, our first time watching Michael Jordan in action, because when Jordan was active, right, we weren't born yet, and then when he came back, we were babies, so we didn't know about Michael Jordan like that. We just knew him from Space Jam. And so when he came back in 2000, we were like, oh, okay, so we're now going to see the guy that people kept talking to us about. We're going to see the legendary Michael Jordan. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like most things in life, and we spoke about it last week, learning about Biggie, knowing Biggie and Tupac. It's like they're always there. don't remember when they weren't there,
Yeah.
and I don't remember when I learned. It's just they're always there. And Michael Jordan, getting those Jordans, I just knew about Jordans. You know, Michael Jordan, you know, Space Jam. It's like those movies, that name, that brand was
23. Yeah, absolutely.
23 was always there. So, you know, yeah, I do remember like watching him on TV and the Wizards, and it's like, oh, okay, this is great. But wasn't a kid watching every basketball game, just seeing it. It's like, wow, and that's like
him.
a wow factor.
Yeah.
You know, it's like meeting a celebrity in the street, and I'm like, wow, and then you know, go on with your day. It's like, wow, they made my day. Then you gotta go on with your day.
Right. Definitely. And I think I don't know if Tom Brady is at like, I don't think he's at the Jordan Wizards era yet. I think he's still like, he still got a lot left in him. I really do feel like that, because the man is a sociopath.
Yeah, like I said, you retire twice. You retire or the game retires you. And it seems that he's going neither direction. So, you know, it's going to be fun to see what happens. Like I said, I don't care too much about football, but this is a very good running TV show.
Yeah. I only care about the Giants, and they suck. So
this guy is pretty much John Cena.
Yeah.
In
John
wrestling
Cena.
Terms.
He is John Cena.
Tom Brady, John Cena, the same person. It's just someone that's just always winning. Even when they lose, they're still winning.
Yeah. Tom Brady is John Cena.
And, you know, they made him the villain.
They did make him.
And he's still winning.
Man.
See, I know my wrestling.
You do know your wrestling. I'm proud of you.
I know John Cena. John Cena's pretty cool. He got a rap album.
I did have his rap album, believe it or not, back in 2000.
It was fire, right? For its time. For
its time, you know, when I was 11, 10 years old, I thought it was great. Looking back on it, it wasn't the best, but you know, our dear friend and mentor DJ Hard Hitting Harry, he A&R'd that album. Fun fact, that was pretty fun to know about. But yeah, shout out to John Cena and shout out to Hard Hitting Harry. Let's get into some music before we get up out of here, Bastion.
Yes. What would you like to discuss? What projects came out that got you replaying over and over for the past 5 days, because you know music comes out on Fridays?
Yes. Believe it or not, Bastion, it is this one British fellow who I was first introduced to the 2017 Tyler the Creator album, Scum F Flower Boy, and he was in the opening track, and I thought it was like Frank Ocean, but no, it was Rex County Orange with his new record, Who Cares? I was really excited to listen to this album because, again, I was familiar with him and his works with Tyler, so I wanted to see what he would bring for me this time around. And
yeah, definitely coming off from the album Pony 2019, if you heard of it. I didn't get a lot of replay value to it, but I did like it a bit. Not something I went back to listen to. 2019 was definitely a busy year for music.
Yeah, definitely. And so this album I thought was a great album. I love the sounds. I don't know if Rex Orange County has a classical background at all, because a lot of the tracks that it has a lot of strings in it, a lot of violins, a lot of keys. It felt like he was blending some classical music elements within his like happy pop music. I loved how grand he had each track feeling. It felt like almost like a movie. Almost felt like a cinematic soundtrack. Almost it felt like a score.
I like that subjective language for this song, because I remember once we passed the Tyler song, Open a Window, which is a great song.
Mm-hmm.
Once we got to Worth It, it really felt like an album introduction. I mean, like a movie introduction.
Right.
It's coming off of last week. You said you were constantly listening to the Batman soundtrack, and I'm watching Batman. It's like I hear the soundtrack. Like there's this one scene where in the Batman movie, I promise it's gonna make sense, where every time he's chasing the Penguin and you see Batman, you hear the orchestra. And then when he's off screen, you don't hear anything. But when he's on screen again, you hear the orchestra. So, when I was listening to Worth It, that's what it felt like. It felt this feeling of like, just this orchestra, like something is coming. Then the music started.
Right.
Of course, I would say like the music didn't carry on the entire way, but it did feel grand. It did feel something was happening.
Yeah, I wonder if he was like watching some or listening to like movie soundtracks, or watching a movie, or listening to some classical, because this album is heavy strings, heavy in the violin, so it felt very grand, almost like he was trying to tell us the story.
I realized, so I have Tidal.
Okay.
And in Tidal, you get to see like who's writing, who's composing, who's pretty much doing the whole thing.
The whole breakdown.
While listening to this album, there's this artist that they're still listening to him every now and then. Great voice, a little bit high pitch. He did his own version of Drake's Passion Fruit a while ago. Benny Sings.
Oh, wow.
Remember Benny Sings?
Yes.
Great artist. Love his music. And apparently he's one of like the main producers and maybe even a co-writer in this entire album.
Oh.
So now I see that name a lot of the production makes more sense. Because listening to this album, the first artist I thought about was definitely Jamiroquai. If you listen to Jamiroquai, Virtual Insanity, all right, just you gotta give me something Cloud9, like amazing artist. He could do everything. And it's just the way he sings. Certain songs sound like Jamiroquai. Maybe they have a very similar voice. And anytime he sings something in the tune of Jamiroquai, it's like, oh, this sounds like a Jamiroquai song, or it sounds like a Benny Sings song too. You feel maybe every now and then it's like Mac DeMarco type feeling as well. So yeah, I thought this was like a blend of those types of songs, and I would like to continuously keep listening to Rex Orange County.
Absolutely.
In a way where I could separate him from these artists. But now looking at like the composer and the producer, and just seeing Benny Sings all over this album, it's like, oh, okay, maybe this is why I couldn't separate it. This the same way where I was gonna make a reference with David Bowie working with other artists. Sometimes you still have that David Bowie sound.
I feel like I need to listen to this album a lot more because, as you were mentioning artists like Mac DeMarco, and whenever I listen to Mac DeMarco, I feel like I need warmer weather when I listen to Mac DeMarco. He just has that cadence and that voice and that sound where I need it to be like a nice warm day. Maybe it's like the sunset is starting to happen and I need to be chilling by the waterfront, or I just need to be chilling at a park and just relax. That's how this album made me feel. Like I can't, like, it's cool listening to it in the morning where it's sunny, the sun's rising and I'm going to work, but I feel like I really need to calm down and just listen to it and just relax. It sort of makes me feel like how I listened to Solange's last album.
It's something that changes over a period of time. And when you get used to it, it's just like the feeling. And just to go back to my David Bowie example.
Yes.
If you ever listen to like Iggy Pop, there's a time when David Bowie and Iggy Pop used to just hang out with each other a lot. Some Iggy Pop album, I think maybe like 2 albums, sounded a lot like David Bowie stuff. It's still him. He still has some personality, but you definitely see the underlining of like David Bowie stuff. But I see what you mean. Maybe more listings could create this own culture. I do think Solange is just a great example, just how if you take your time in making an art piece of music, same thing with Tyler the Creator, just create an art piece of music. Within a couple months, people just treat it like its own project,
Absolutely.
like its own living thing.
I think sometimes when you also work with other artists as well, like you saying Iggy Pop and David Bowie, sometimes you're just going to adapt to the sound of the artist as well. Sometimes 2 different artists don't always go well together, right? If DJ Khaled has taught us anything, Okay, sometimes when artists get together, sometimes in order for it to work, sometimes an artist might have to adapt to the sound of the artist to make the track work specifically, because then you'll get crap like what DJ Khaled comes out with, and I know you don't want that.
Oh yeah, like the best examples, like you could either make diamonds, just pressure from both artist and producer will create something beautiful, or it could just be like a plated gold piece. You see what it's really made out of. Yeah. And what's really on top of it, like what's making it shine, is that just either the rapping or the production. And of course, artists like Pharrell, Kanye's of their time, Just Blaze, like they were, I could say, gold plated for a long time.
Absolutely.
Because they will definitely improve who they work with. But of course, you put Jay-Z on the track, that's diamond, of course.
Exactly.
Because they're no longer, like, oh, the production's carrying. It's like, no, everything just works together.
Never in my life would I ever thought I would see Kenny G and the Clips in the same track. But it happened, and it sounded freaking amazing. I was shocked. But hey, very few artists can do that. Okay, not every artist can pull something like that off. Okay.
See, if we live in an alternate dimension where Kanye decides to stop rapping and just start putting artists together, we'll just get a lot of classic songs. But
I told you, this era of Kanye right now that we're in, just musically, he's DJ Khaled. He's just putting in a verse or two in there, and then he's just having the features do their thing. That's all he's doing right now, and it's great.
Before we talk about the next album, I'll just quickly talk about this EP with Casey. Casey, he definitely had his hand in the work from Donda, if you remember.
Casey, like Casey and JoJo?
Casey, K like K-A-Y, and C-Y-Y.
Oh, okay.
3-track EP, TW 50. Great EP. All produced by, what's the name? Gaffelstein. I don't know if you remember who Gaffelstein is. He definitely had a big influence in Yeezus as well.
Oh, God.
There's definitely, and also I'm trying to remember what he came out with, just like this legendary, Gaffelstein, his project Alf, and back in 2013, because Yeezus was 2012.
No, Yeezus was 2013.
2013 as well? Okay, Yeezus was 2013. He got Gaffelstein, I definitely mispronounced his name, came out with Alf, and Alf was definitely this kind of very, at time, like a very far superior electronic sounding album that people just loved and they're super obsessed with.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he even made good music with The Weeknd, Pharrell Williams, and et cetera. So definitely check out the Casey EP. Before we close the show, definitely got to talk about Time to Talk 4.
Yes.
Benny the Butcher.
Coming.
This is definitely a very great all-around project, very heavy, I think, with great production all around, no skips whatsoever. And
Alchemist.
I do think everything was put together perfectly in terms of production, lyrics, song subjects, and even features. We get a great feature from Giovanni's favorite rapper of all time, J. Cole. And
all right, you got me there.
Who do you think I was going to say?
Conway, goddammit. Tyson versus Ali.
You got a great Boldy James verse. And see, it's funny, I was listening and I hear Diddy talking, but Diddy was on the track.
Yes. How'd you feel about the 10 more 10 crack commandments? How'd you feel about that one?
See, even the subject matter, it's like, oh wow, it's like a Biggie thing, because there's like one line Biggie reference that made you like put the whole thing together. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. Then I heard Diddy talking, like, oh, okay, this is very, very good. Uncle Bun, Billy Joe, Buster Brick. It's just great tracks. Even how it started, Johnny P's Caddy with J. Cole. It's all finesse. I think this whole album is just finesse.
Yeah, great drug talk, great braggadocio rap. Benny the Butcher, man, he is getting better before our very eyes. I literally have nothing wrong to say about this album. This album's beautiful. It's great. It's a good freaking album. I have nothing else to say. It's damn good. It flows really well. Everyone who has a verse on this album, they bring it. Alchemist, he does a great job in producing most of these records. I think he produced damn near all of them, no?
Yeah, I think so. I'll have to quickly check with my title.
Yes, please check with your title, because I have Spotify and Apple Music.
But he definitely produced a couple tracks on here.
Absolutely. Shoot. And honestly, I didn't expect to get a Benny project so soon.
I think 8 out of the 12.
So 8 out of the 12 records. See, so majority of the records produced by Uncle Al, the Alchemist. Great beats as always, supplied by the Alchemist. Again, everyone who was featured on this track list brought their A games. Everything just blended so well together. Great metaphors as always. Great dope bars. Great I'm a rapper ass rapper bars. Love all of it. Great album.
Was this for he's from Buffalo, right?
They are from Buffalo, yes sir.
So yeah, he's putting Buffalo on the map. Definitely, he's not just some spot upstate New York, outside New York City. He's trying to give its own league.
That's right.
So shout out to Benny the Butcher.
Shout out to Benny the Butcher, of course. Shout out to Griselda, man. The whole Griselda wave. Conway the Machine, your guy West Side Gun. Shout out to those three gentlemen right there, because they're bringing back real rap raw.
Doot, 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 doot.
So I guess that's all we have for you all today. We hope you enjoy the show. Please follow us on all podcasting platforms such as Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, Audible, Pandora, Podomatic. We are also available on all platforms, social media platforms such as Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, all at Black Seinfeld NY, YouTube Black Seinfeld as well. If you want to leave a comment, if you want to ask us a question, if you want to drop us some music, please go to blackseinfeldny@gmail.com, and please also go to blackseinfeld.com for all the latest and greatest episodes. We'll see you all again next week. We're finally going to talk about the Kanye documentary Genius. Finally going to get into that. I don't want to talk about the whole drama that's happening between all those people, though. We're totally going to talk about the doc. And I think that's all I had to say. Bastion, anything else you want to say?
And we definitely will do a separate episode for the Batman.
Yes.
Definitely something that we definitely wanted to discuss. Maybe like a little around like an hour 30-minute discussion. Definitely saw it twice and want to analyze it correctly. So we don't want to talk about it on air. Definitely be a backstage episode. We just have to figure out when we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm set up out here in LA. I think my mic experience was pretty good. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. You sounded fantastic.
All right, so yeah, we'll be back next week with more just amazing Black Seinfeld show about absolutely nothing. We're gonna play our last song out.
Queen Latifah, Unity, UNITY.
UNITY.
Peace.